I am so excited to have Marcus Sheridan here today. This truly is a dream come true for me. I heard Marcus speak at, I think it was Tom Reber's Mile High Profit Summit several years ago, and it was just the most inspirational talk. He had just put out his book, They Ask, You Answer. I immediately bought the book. I read it. I thought it was so great that I gave it to I went and bought I don't know, however many people we had on our team at that point. I think it was like 20 or 30 people. Bought it for every single person, and we studied what Marcus was sharing. In that book and Marcus's teachings, they have fundamentally changed how we operate JobTread. And I'm just so honored and privileged to be able to introduce and bring Marcus Sheridan to the stage because it has changed how we run JobTread, and we are very, very grateful and thankful. My number one book recommendation right now is Endless Customers, which is the updated version of They Ask, You Answer. I highly, highly, highly recommend you read it. It is great. You will not regret it. Marcus, where are you? Come on up.
Thank you. Oh, yes, it's my people, my fellow tradespeople. Are you ready for a great 60 minutes? Then you'll have your break. I know you're like, when's that break coming? It's coming, but we got to chat first. We're going to make sure the house lights are up because, as always, I want to see your smiling faces. It matters to me. I know you. All right. We have such incredible things happening within our world right now, within the trades itself. And I'm so excited about it because I've never seen change like this in 25 years of being a business owner. I haven't seen change like this before. And so today, I want to talk about these changes with you. And I want to make sure that you are ready for what's coming next. Just by the way, the clicker's not working, so let's go ahead and get a new one up here. Now, I want you to realize that when we look at what's happening today, you have an opportunity that we haven't seen since the internet started. I'm really serious about this. Now, for those that don't know my story, I used to be a pool guy. In fact, I still am kind of a pool guy. By the way, do we have any pool guys or pool gals in the room today? Well, we got some pool people here. All right, let's hear it for the pool people. So we started this company, me and my two business partners, in 2001. Things were going pretty well up until this date right here. Does anybody in this room remember this date right here? Yeah. How good, was this a good or a bad day for pool guys, gals, and of course, everyone else? You see, if you don't remember this day, this was the day of the crash. And when we had the crash of 2008, within 48 hours of the crash, we lost 5 deposits of people that said they were going to get a pool. They withdrew it. And so in the first 48 hours, we lost $250,000 in business. And that might not sound like a lot to you all, but that's a lot to a swimming pool company going into the off season. And then over the coming weeks, it got worse and worse. And by January of 2009, we're going over the proverbial edge. Hey, has anybody here ever been on that edge before with your business? Anybody ever felt that edge? You know what's great about that edge? That edge will force you way outside of your comfort zone. It'll force you to do things you've never done before. It's oftentimes by the pain that we are driven to do that which we know we should have been doing a long time ago. It was during this time, it was so painful. And I kid you not, some of you might be able to relate to this, that when I would get home at night, we were in so much trouble as a company. My wife would not ask me, how was your day? Because she already knew my day was not good. But like I said, it's in those hard times that we create strong business leaders. And I just have to say this because I think he's here. My business partner who hasn't seen me speak in a long time at one of these events, I think he's here today. Jason, are you here? Will you stand up? I'm going to get emotional. I hope every one of you gets a chance in your life to work with a business partner that makes you a better version of you. He has been a rock for me for 25 years. And so it gives me a lot of joy to have him here today. It was during this time when we were going over the cliff that I really started to think about the buyer, the way the buyer was changing. I was reading all these phrases online like inbound marketing, content marketing, and what I heard was, Marcus, if you just obsess over your buyer, what they want to know, what they want to ask, and you're willing to lean into it, you might save your business. So I went to my 2 business partners and I said, we're going to be the best teachers in the world when it comes to fiberglass swimming pools. I said, if anybody has a question in this industry, question, worry, fear, issue, concern, we're going to address it. We're going to own it. We're going to get in front of every conversation in this space. And we called this simple little strategy, they ask, you answer. To make a long story very short, they ask, you answer would help us to become the most trafficked swimming pool website in the world. I wrote the book in 2017, and it was embraced by companies all over the world, including in home improvement. In fact, if you have done or read They Ask You Answer, let me just raise your hand just really quick for those of you. Wow, there's like more than 2 of you. That's so cool. Now, They Ask You Answer was great, but it came out in 2017, then it came out in 2020, but so much has changed in this time that this year we said, we need to make sure we've got something that is ready for the next 5 to 10 years. And we wanted to make it a system similar to EOS that you could follow for your digital sales and marketing, and we call that endless customers. And I want to teach you this system, at least some of the bare bones of it today. And the payoff of this system is that you can become, if you follow the system, the most known and trusted voice in your market. That's my promise to you. Now, I've got one big fear, and this is always the same fear I have with any audience. So, for example, my fear is, I'm here, right? And then I see Skip, and Skip here. Here's what I say. By the way, what's your industry, Skip? Remodeling. And Skip hears me, and he says, Marcus, that endless customer stuff, that might have worked for you and your business, but here at Skip Knoll Inc., that's a pretty exciting name that you got there, Skip, for your business, all right? Skip Knoll Inc., all right? Our situation, our business is different. How many of you in this room truly believe your business is different? I know you all do. I know you do. But listen, even though you are different and your people are different, and yes, you're special, the reason why people buy from you is the same reason why they buy from me, Adam. They have to feel something towards you more so than they feel towards your competitors. And Eric talked about that this morning with one of the big 3, didn't he? The emotion that allows someone to give you money in exchange for a good or a service. The emotion that you're going to be fighting for from now until the end of time, regardless of what happens with AI, that emotion is called what? Who's got it? Say it loud. Trust. That is the business we're all in. And so today, as I'm showing you things this morning that you're like, I don't know if we could do that, my ask for you is that you start with the question, yeah, but if we did do that, would it induce more trust? Because if the answer is yes, then it's your job as a business leader to say, okay, well then how do we do it? Because the future is going to be built on a trust currency, I promise you that. Because we have a trust deficit that exists in society today that is affecting so many people personally and professionally. You can be the voice of trust in your market, just like JobTread has become. So that's my ask for you. Now, this date changed the world. November 30th, 2022. This was the day ChatGPT came out. We got to talk about this because for 20-some years, all we had to do was worry about 2 entities for the most part. We had to make the customer happy. That's never going to change. We had to make sure we got the referral. We had to make sure they recommended us, but we also had to make the search engine happy. We'll call that Google, right? And the way we made the search engine happy is twofold. We produced content. We might call that content marketing or SEO, or we gave them money. We call that paid ads. And they showed us to the world. And that was the better part of marketing for 20-some years. But then suddenly we have another party that enters the fray. ChatGPT, AI. Now raise your hand if you're using today ChatGPT, let's say at least once a day. Raise your hand. Now, by the way, that should be 100% of us in this room if you are not, but that was the majority of this room that just raised your hand. Now, we already know this, that 1 in 4 people prefer ChatGPT over Google. This was in the middle of last year. My studies have shown that today, 50% of all my audiences currently prefer ChatGPT over Google or legacy Google. Let's call it legacy Google. So my question for you is, where is this going to be over the next 5, 10 years? We all know where this is headed, but you tell me this. Which one of the following is the future of search online? And this is very important. We've all got to swallow this pill. Every one of us, because it's going to affect your sales and marketing dramatically in the years ahead. So you tell me which one is the future of online search. Let's say you go online to Google today, you type in who are the best kitchen remodelers near me, and what you see is an AI summary. You can show more if you want. You see something on the right side of the page. You're not really sure if that's a sponsor or not. Thanks, Google. And then you keep scrolling down the page. You see a bunch of businesses and you see a map. And then you keep scrolling down the page and you see this section that says, people also ask. And then you start to see these blue links on the left side of the page. And as you scroll down the page, you continue to see more blue links. And then as you continue to scroll down the page, you see more blue links. You're not sure if these links are really good or not. You're not sure if the answer is there or not. But this is what you've been shown. That's option A. By the way, that's the last 20 years for the most part. Yes, it's evolved, but that's option A. Option B. Option B. You go online, you go to your AI like a ChatGPT, and you say, all right, who's the best remodelers near me? And because your AI knows you, it gives you a list that is specific to you. It tells you the companies, and it tells you why it's recommending to you those companies. You can click on either one that you want to, and at the end of this little write-up that it gives you, it says, if you want, I can pull contact info and price estimates for a subset of these based on specific scope you have in mind. Now, you tell me, which one's the future of the way you and I search, A or B? See, this is so obvious, and this is why I am sure and you are sure that we cannot build businesses any longer on legacy search. I'm not saying Google is dying today. Like, Google will probably survive, but it won't look anything like it does, at least legacy, in 2 or 3 years. It's dramatically going to change. And what's this mean for ads? What happens if you can't use ads as a primary driver for your business? Now, of course, it's up in the air what's going to happen with ads, but all of these things are changing. And so this is what I know. The future of your business is not going to be built on Google. And if AI isn't recommending you, and this is going to be key, if AI is not recommending you, when that person goes and does that search, you're going to be in trouble. Because the sad reality, and it's also an opportunity, is AI either recommends you or it rejects you. There's no such thing as ranking anymore. You're not ranking for that keyword phrase. That's not our future. The question is, did we show up or did we not? So you must become, going forward, 2 things. The most known and trusted brand with humans and the most known and trusted with AI. I'm going to show you today, very quickly, how you can do that. We're going to do it surface level, but in a nutshell, here's how it works. The way that you're going to become the most trusted is through what we call trust signals. A trust signal is any piece of content online that is about your company, positive or negative, that you have produced or someone has produced about you. And AI will consume all of those trust signals, and then it'll make a decision as to whether or not you're recommended. That's how it's going to work. Now, there's a lot of these signals. In fact, here's just a small list of some of those signals that dictate whether or not AI will recommend you. Now, if you look at this list right now, you're going to say, some of these are very confusing. Some of them are technical. Some of them are authority-based. Some of them are brand-based. We don't have time to really dive hard into this today, but I want to give you a starter on this because here's what you have to pay attention to going forward if you want AI to recommend you. So here's what I'm going to recommend. I built a tool about just under a year ago called AI Trust Signals. It allows you to get a score on all of these signals so as to see how likely AI is to recommend you. And it's a free score that you get. So here's what I want you to do, because by the end of this, some of you will have your score, and I'm going to ask you. I want you to go ahead and go to the website. Now, just do this one person per company, not multiple people per the same company, just one per company, okay? Now, when you go there, it's going to ask you to put in your email address and your URL. The first thing you're going to have to do is go back to your email to confirm that it's you, because legally that's how it works. Then you're going to go back to the site, and you're going to run the test. Now, the test is going to take multiple minutes for you to get a score. So when you do this, I don't want you to sit there and keep looking at your phone for the next 30 minutes. You're going to get a score sometime today. There's a lot of people in this room, and it's the most robust AI visibility score tool on the market today. And I want you to get that, and the way you're going to see that score is it's going to look like a speedometer. And you're going to see a range, and your score is the middle of that range. And you want to look at it like a grade score. In other words, 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 90 is a B, 70 to 80 is a C. Anything less than 70 score is not passing. I was with a bunch of contractors yesterday. The average score was about 55, just to give you a sense for what we're seeing. The good thing is, though, if you're in the 50s, which many of you will be, don't fret, because you're going to have an immediate action item list that you can do to fix the issues so that AI recommends you. All right, so I'm just going to leave that there, and at the end, I will see if any of you have gotten your score. So let's talk about this system of endless customers. We want to become the most known and trusted voice. So how do we do it? Well, it starts with what we call the 4 pillars of a known and trusted brand. These 4 pillars are going to dictate your success for years to come, I promise you. It's going to drive whether or not AI loves you and whether or not humans love you. So what are the 4? The 4 pillars are: you must be willing to say online what others in your space are not willing to say. Are you talking about things online right now that others in your space aren't willing to go to? Are they afraid to go to that subject? Or are you just like everyone else? Number 2, are you willing to show with video what others in your space are not willing to show? Or are you doing video just like everyone else? Number 3, are you selling in a way that is truly different than your competitors? I'm going to give you examples of each of these first 3. And then finally, number 4, are you more human? Do they feel like they know you before they ever meet you, before you ever walk up the driveway? Do they know your face? Do they know your voice? Because if not, you have failed them. In a time of technology, we got to make sure we are connecting on a very human-to-human level. Now, today, I'm only going to briefly discuss the first 3 with an emphasis on the first 2. And I want to get into you right now because this is such a big deal. Pillar number 1 and 2, say and show what others in your space are not willing to say and show. This is so dang fundamental to your success. Ever since I wrote They Ask You Answer, early on with the River Pools Company, we saw there was a pattern the way that people search, especially in home improvement. There's basically 5 subjects that all of your buyers, your customers, homeowners want to understand before they reach out to you. This is the conversation they're having, the 5 subjects they want to know. What is one subject, and you can shout it out, what is one subject that you always research online before you reach out to a company? Anybody go? Okay, a bunch of you said price. Exactly, that's one. Another one, anybody else? Reviews, I just heard it. So those are 2 of the big 5. Here's the big 5 right here. As consumers, buyers, B2B and B2C, here's what we want to know. We want to know all the questions about cost. We want to know what are the problems and the negatives with it. We want to know how does it compare to that other thing we're looking at. We want to know what's everybody saying about it, and we want to know what is the best it. That is how you search. And what's wild is many of you are not addressing these things on your website right now, on your social media right now. And if you're not, you will not become that voice of trust. So the question is, how do you address these things? I'm going to show you briefly how you address these things. I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. This is my most favorite one. If you've ever been with me before, you know I've been talking about this subject for about 15 years, my dang life. And it's starting to get really interesting now. Okay, by a show of hands, how many of you have researched how much something costs online, let's say in the last 6 months, by show of hands? Okay, looks like about 100% of you. You, sir, did not raise your hand. Amish, totally respectable if you are. Now, when you're on a website and you're researching cost and price and you cannot find it, what is the emotion you experience? Go ahead, what's the emotion? Yeah, I could hear it. It's frustration. So my question for you is, what gives you the right? What gives you the right to be so frustrated? You're the what? You're the customer, you're the buyer, and you're trying to do what? You're trying to buy. You're trying to make a dang decision, right, Mike? Now, in that moment of frustration here, when Mike is trying to find what he wants to find on price and he can't get it, in that moment of frustration, does Mike say, and this is important, everyone, well, that's okay, they're not talking about cost and price. They're a value-based business. They're very customized. I'm going to call them on the phone instead. Does Mikey here do that? Come on, does he do it? Yes or no? No. Because Mikey, he gets frustrated and he does what? He moves on. And he keeps searching until what happens? Until he finds what he's looking for. And generally speaking, whoever gives him what he's looking for, they're going to get what? His business. If it's not his business, he's going to get first contact, first phone call. And I'm sure we could all agree if you had a choice, you would always rather be the first company contacted, yes or no? Yes. Absolutely, 100%. You see, the real reason why Mike here gets so upset is because he knows that they know the answer. And because he knows they know the answer, or at least a semblance of the answer, and they're not addressing it at all, he now feels like they're doing what? Hiding something from him. And the moment you feel like anybody is hiding anything from you online, what happens? Trust is gone. And what's the business you're in? Trust, right, Ethan? Now, with this being said, here's the big question. This is how we have all evolved. By a show of hands, how many of you in this room right now talk a lot about the cost and price of your service on your website? Raise your hand. Look around. Less than 10%. This is why I still have a job, Skip Knoll from Skip Knoll Inc. Now, this is the best part of the show, because already I could see some of you getting frustrated with me for even asking the question. Some of you are folding your arms and saying, I don't think I like the pool guy. A minute ago, you're like, he was all right, but now he is questioning my integrity as a business owner. And you're starting to come with all the reasons in your head while you're not addressing it, right, Timothy? I know how you work, Travis. Don't you think you can pull one over on me? Now, there's three major reasons why we don't like to talk about cost and price online. First major reason, anybody? Go ahead. What's the first major reason you don't do it? Anybody go? Come on. You said it varies. Yes, it varies. It's customized. It's bespoke. Now, if I came to you and I said, can you help me understand what drives the cost of your product or service up? Could you explain that? If I said to you, can you help me understand what's going to drive the cost of your service or product down? Could you explain that? If I said, you know what, you gave me a quote and your competitors gave me a quote. Some of you are really expensive. Some of you are less expensive. Can you help me understand why there's such a delta of pricing in your industry? Could you explain that? And of course, how many times over the years have you had to address those questions? But the sad thing is, oftentimes, you don't address these questions until what happens? Until they ask. And by that point, how many have already left, Todd? If you knew how many people had left your funnel because you weren't addressing what they wanted to know, it would shock you. So that's the first reason. It depends. It's the easiest to explain. The second reason why we don't like to talk about cost and price, anybody? We don't want our competitors to see it. But if I came to you, Aaron, and I said, do you have a pretty decent sense, maybe not exact, but a decent sense as to what your competitors charge, what would you say? Aaron says yes. And so if you have a good sense as to what they charge, they have a good sense as to what you charge. This is the big secret, non-secret. Everybody acts like nobody knows what everybody's charging, when in reality, everybody's got a decent sense as to what everyone is charging. And besides that, when was the last time your competitors paid your bills, Aaron? Never's going to happen, buddy. Don't make decisions based on what your competitors are or not doing. Focus on the buyer, my friend. They'll change your life. They'll change your business. Third reason we don't talk about cost and price, we say we tend to be more expensive. And if we're more expensive, we just might scare them away, lose the business. But what's funny about that is what we all just agreed a few minutes ago. The thing that actually scares them away is what? That's right, when they can't find the thing. Case in point, Adrian, let's say you want to go to a new restaurant tonight here in Dallas. You're going to take a loved one. You want it to be a great experience. Because he wants it to be a great experience at this restaurant, before he goes, Adrian is going to do two things. What are the two things he's going to do before he goes to the restaurant? Anybody go? That's right, you said it. Menu, and he's going to look at the reviews. That's how it works. Now, here's where it gets interesting, Adrian. If he goes and he looks at the menu online and there is no pricing on the menu, Is he still going to go? Now, some of you are thinking, is this going on the company credit card or not? You see, in that moment, we know that 80% of all people won't go, and it's not because they can't afford it, but it's because the moment they left it blank, they planted a seed of doubt. And when seeds of doubt exist, inertia occurs. It's the same reason why Adrian ended up going to the restaurant. And when he got to the restaurant, he's with his loved one, and he sees the menu, and he notices they have lobster. And oh, Adrian loves lobster, don't you, Adrian? I could tell you're a lobster guy. But when he sees the lobster on the menu, suddenly next to the lobster, what does it have? Market price. Uh-oh, Adrian, we got us a problem. Adrian wants to order the lobster, but he knows if he asks the server how much the lobster is, and then he doesn't order it, it makes him look cheap. And Adrian, we can already see you're cheap, brother. You know what I'm saying? You know? And so what does he do? He orders the chicken, don't you? Why? Not because it's cheap, because it's safe. You nailed it. You nailed it. It's safe. And that's what your buyers want. Today, everything is about mitigating risk. Your job is to eliminate risk from the buying decision, and the only thing that's left, Stephen, is trust. That's what's left in the end. That's what happens when you follow this system. Now, some of you still aren't sold on this. When we embrace They Ask You Answer, first piece of content we put on our website at River Pools was, how much does a fiberglass pool cost? We were the first swimming pool company in the world to address this question. We said it's a lot like buying a car. There's a lot of options that drive it up, that drive it down. But we said ultimately the answer is it depends. But because we were willing to explain it depends, something magical happened for us. From a search perspective, if you went online and you asked any question about how much a fiberglass pool was, we were the first ones you were going to see. Now that's just visitors. That's not revenue. Let's track it back to revenue. This is going to make sense, I promise. Stay with me. Here's a list of the number one phrases that generated the most traffic to the website over the next few years. The number one, for example, fiberglass pool prices. We had 13,000, looking to the right side there, we had 13,000 people go to Google, typed in fiberglass pool prices. Of those 13,000, 30 of them filled out a form and said, I want to get a quote from you. So the numbers that you see on the right side right now, these are sales appointments. Now the red arrows indicate a phrase that when somebody searched that phrase, they landed on that article, how much does the fiberglass pool cost, that page of the website. So here's the important point. We've got roughly 200 plus sales appointments that occurred from people that originally landed on that article. If that article is never written, if it's never published on the website, how many of those 200 plus sales appointments would have occurred? 0 to almost none. But they did occur. And many of them did come to the site. Many of them did read that article. Many of them did read more or watch more. Many of them did fill out a form. Many of them did buy. We know the names of the ones that bought. We know the value of their pools. And therefore, we can place all the values of those pools on top of one little article that took 45 minutes to write at my kitchen table. And I can tell you without equivocation that that one single article, since the day it was written, just for a company in Virginia, has generated $35 million in sales that we would not have had we not addressed the question. One simple article saved a business. It saved every job of every employee we had. And it started a momentum that Jason and I, to this day, it shocks us. Now, some of you are saying, well, how do I create cost about price? Listen, we talk about it a lot in this customers, but let me give you exactly what you can do. It's called the perfect pricing page. If you create this for your website, AI will love you, it will recommend you, it will source you, and humans will love you, recommend you, and source you as well. So just look at each one of these. Now, if you look at these, if you look at it, you're going to say to yourself, oh yeah, I could totally do that. Like that's very, very possible. What factors drive the price up? What factors drive the price down? What makes some companies so expensive? What makes some companies so cheap? Why are there variations in packaging in your industry? Can you explain lifetime versus initial price? Could you show historical pricing trends? I'm telling you, if you create this page of your site and really lean into this, you will see phenomenal gains. Your customer is going to love you. AI is going to love you. That's what we're going after here. This is saying and showing what others aren't willing to say and show. We already saw this in this room right here. Less than 10% of you are just doing this. And it doesn't stop there, as I'm going to show you just in a few minutes. Now, let's go. We'll come back to price later. Let's look at problems. People used to come to me all the time and they say, be honest, Marcus, what are the problems with the fiberglass pool? What are the issues with the fiberglass pools? They'd meet with that concrete pool builder and they would say, oh, you don't want a fiberglass pool. That thing will pop out of the ground. It's ugly. It looks like a bathtub in your yard. And you concrete pool builders said that in here? I want to find you afterwards. I'm going to hunt you down. And so we said, hey, people are asking us, why do we ignore it? You see, when somebody's serious about buying something, they research what could go wrong. And so we openly talked about it. Jason wrote this article right here, which is a landmark article. We did multiple articles and videos on the problems with fiberglass pools. We got in front of the issue. You see, the greatest way in life to resolve a concern is to address it before it becomes a concern. And because we did this, look at the result of openly talking about it. Here's the analytics. Here's a list of the number one phrases that generate the most sales appointments over the next few years. The number one with 56 sales appointments on the right side was River Pools and Spas. I don't count that one because that's our company name. So the number one, because everybody else, they didn't know who they wanted to work with. They just knew they had a question, right? So the number one phrase that generated the most sales appointments over the next couple of years was fiberglass pools problems. How is it possible that talking about the negatives, the fears, could in this case generate millions in additional revenue? It's the same thing. It comes back to that one word, which is trust. Trust, trust, trust. Get in front of it. People used to come to us all the time and they would say, be honest, why should I get a fiberglass pool over concrete? Why should I get a fiberglass pool over vinyl? And everybody was so biased. And here's what's wild. The fiberglass pool companies back in the day, and by the way, when I'm talking about pools, it's your business we're talking about. It's your job to apply this to your business, to your industry. It's all the same. Like I said, we're not different. We're all using the same psychology here, the buyer. So you're constantly being asked questions that are comparison-based questions. You have gotten hundreds of them over the years. How many have you addressed well online? Because we were constantly getting this question, and because no one wanted to address this, here's the logic of these fiberglass pool companies. We don't want to, like, our biggest competitor is concrete pools. So instead of talking about them online, we're not going to mention them on our website. And if we don't mention them on our website, well, then nobody will know concrete pools exist. You see, this is the logic I still see in 2026. So we openly talked about the differences. And notice the title, Fiberglass versus Vinyl versus Concrete, an honest comparison. We didn't say fiberglass pools were better. We said, here's the facts, here's the pros, here's the cons to each one of these. You decide, because that's what every homeowner wants. They want you to educate them well and then allow them to decide. You don't have to say, oh, we're the best. Of course you should get five. No, it doesn't work that way. Allow them to decide. They want that control. And because of that, today when you go online and you compare any type of in-ground pool, oftentimes we're dominating that conversation to this day. Now, one last one I want to show you is Best. Now, Best, I'm going to show you from a more recent example from another company. Happens to be a pool company, but people are constantly searching best such and such contractor near me, correct? Happens in every single one of your areas. This is one of the most important money phrases that you can essentially own. When it comes to AI, you have got to dominate this phrase. You want to be the one that AI is recommending. So in this context, let me show you how this works. Now, this company is called Shasta Pools. Now, Shasta is a client of ours at Impact. Impact is my team that helps organizations do endless customers, which, by the way, that's a mini version of the book that you have on your seat today. That's not the full version, it's a mini version. If anybody has any questions about endless customers, we're all the way at the end of the hall. We are here. We'd love to answer those questions for you. And so they came to us, and we could see that they weren't doing well with some of these best-based phrases in Arizona. And Shasta is a wonderful company, wonderful organization. So here's what we did with them, and you could do this too, and this is how you start to say and show what others won't. What we did is we created an article that says the top 6 pool builders in Arizona for 2025 ratings and reviews. Now, obviously, we're going to update that article now, right? Then what we did is we created a criteria whereby someone could understand what constitutes a great in-ground pool company in this context, because they sell concrete. And so now we talked about all the factors like number of permits pulled and years in business and all these things that would dictate a great in-ground pool company. Then they listed each one of the companies, including their own, that fall under this criteria. But here's where the rubber meets the road, and this is the most important part. This is the article, and this is what AI wants, and this is what I'm asking you to do if you want to start to dominate best contractor near me in your market. One of the things that you want to do is create a chart that looks like this. So you notice on the left side, we've got the criteria, original ownership still in place. We've got Google reviews, we've got years in operation. Then at the top, you've got the different companies. So what they have done is they have shown their biggest competitors on their website, how everyone stacks up against each other. This is the ultimate form of transparency. This is showing what others won't show. Because they did this, we started to get major traction on both ends, with Google, with homeowners, and with AI. In fact, now, oftentimes, if you're searching in, let's say, if you're in Arizona and you're searching on AI for who are the best in-ground pool builders in Arizona, Shasta Pools is one of the first you see. Because now AI is using that chart, it's using that information to pool it and to now report back to the world. Every single one of you in this room could do that. Most of you in this room won't do that. That's the sad part. You could, but the idea of talking openly about your competitors, not in a negative way, not saying anything bad about them, simply reporting the facts as they did, now helps them become the market leader. That's how you have to think. Think abundantly. Think open source, and you're going to dominate this, I promise you. Now, that's the big five. I wish we had more time to talk about it, but you must own those phrases. Now, when it comes to pillar 3 and selling in a way others aren't willing to sell, let's look at this one really quickly because there's some major trends here that are happening. Do you realize Gartner recently did a study that says 75% of all buyers would prefer to have a seller-free sales experience? What does this mean? It doesn't mean they don't like you. It just means they don't want to talk to you until they are ready, until they're confident, until they're comfortable, until they're informed. So your job is to help them feel informed and to help them feel like they're in control, they're in charge. How do you do that? You do it through what's called self-service. Now, we talk about this a ton in Endless Customers. I don't have time to talk about each type of self-service tool, but I can tell you each one of these allows the buyer to do an interactive tool on your website, and by doing that, they're able to get an answer or take an action that previously they would have had to have done by talking with a human first. So an assessment tool gives them a score. A selection tool allows them to choose between options. So hypothetically, let's say that you're a patio contractor and you want to create a tool on your site that says, what is the best type of patio for me? And they answer a series of questions, and at the end they get a recommendation for the right type of surface or the right color or whatever material, whatever that might be. That's an example of a self-selection tool. Self-configurator tools. That allows people to build the thing they're interested in. This is going to be a major part of home improvement going forward, especially now that the tools, AI is making it simpler for the homeowner without CAD skills, without Pool Studio or whatever that construction software was, that design software. Now, everyone is going to be able to do this, and those companies that lean into this on the front end with their site, you're going to see homeowners starting to come to you with very nice professional designs that they did through tools, ideally on your website. Then you've got self-pricing, which we're going to talk about, and self-scheduling, which is when they can schedule time, oftentimes with a salesperson, without having to talk to a human first. Now, each one of these, because it's interactive, creates what's called sunk cost fallacy, which means the person is more invested now in that organization, and they desire strongly to work with them more because of that interaction. Now, let me show you how this completely revolutionized river pools. With river pools, we've got different tools that we help people to have these interactive experiences. If you go to our site, you're able to see a tool that enables you to choose what is the best type of in-ground pool for me, and we literally recommend in this tool for many of the people that they don't buy fiberglass, and that's all we sell. We have a tool that helps people choose the perfect shape based on their needs, interactive. But we also were the first in the industry to have a pricing estimator. Now, this is the part that is going to really shock many of you, what I'm going to show you here in just a minute. Self-pricing is changing the world. And people told us There's no way you can have an estimator because you're now a manufacturer. You see, we became a manufacturer. We had dealers all over the country. How do you have an estimator? Well, you give ranges. Because the key is not necessarily to have a quote tool. You want to have an estimate tool on your site. And oh, by the way, that's what AI wants you to have, and that's what Google wants you to have, as I'm going to show you in a second. So how does this work? You go to the River Pool site, you say, I want to build and price my pool. We show you the different shapes and sizes. You get to choose the different shapes you want. Once you choose the shape you want, we're going to tell you what you get with the base package. We're going to explain that to you like we're walking you through the sales process. As we're doing that, and once you do that, now you get to choose things like, okay, what type of patio do I want with my pool? Do I want it to be regular concrete? Do I want it to be stamped concrete? Do I want it to be pavers? Do I want it to be stone? We explain each one as we go. Once they choose that, then they're able to choose their upgrades. Once they choose their upgrades, by the way, each one, if you notice, has a what is this next to it where they can learn what it is. So they're being educated as they go. They're more informed. Then they're able to see hidden costs even, which this industry is famous for. We make them aware of what are some of those hidden costs that might come up during the project. And then finally, we've got the gate or the form that they fill out. Once they fill this form out, they get an instant estimate sent to them in that moment. Now, this is where the magic occurs because they're invested. Because they're invested, they fill out the form, they get a return, something that no other contractor or most contractors aren't willing to give, and you now get the lead. What do they see as a result of this? What they see, and you can see it on the screen, they get a report basically of everything they said, but look at the bottom left. They see a ballpark price range. That's the key. You notice we didn't say, here's your quote. Here's a ballpark price range, which is what everybody wants at the beginning of the journey anyway. You're not putting yourself in a corner. And it says $112,000 to $160,000. Estimated monthly payment. We give a ballpark price range for their monthly payment. This became, along with They Ask You Answer, the most important marketing thing we ever did at River Pools. What was the result? During the summertime, a tool like this could get 100 to 200 leads a day. Now, are you willing to do this? Well, if you're still not a believer, I want to show you something that's completely going to revolutionize this industry that happened last week. If someone goes online right now and types in remodeler, contractor, whatever near me, there's a new feature that Google just added. Does anybody see it in the room right now? Do you see it? There it is. Now, Google wants to show anyone that has an online estimate. It wants to reward the businesses that have an online estimator tool because it knows that's the number one question that any homeowner has when they're thinking about working with a home service, a home improvement company. This is what they want to know. Now, what's really interesting about this too is they've now tailored paid ads to reward when someone clicks on online estimates near me. When they click on that button, they reach a page that says online estimates, in this case, new roof near me. Google Ads wants to show estimators on that page because they want their customer, the searcher, to get the immediate answer. Now, it doesn't stop there, though. Do you notice the other new feature that just recently happened? Bottom left, have AI get prices. And when somebody clicks on, oh, by the way, this is on your mobile too. Big and strong on your mobile, have AI check prices. As soon as the homeowner clicks on that, what happens? Now Google takes them through a series of questions. Once they answer the questions, once again, it's an interactive tool. Google now agentically, in other words, the tool, the AI, reaches out to the businesses, and then they send back to the homeowner an email. Here's the email that I got, and look at this email that I got. Hello, here's what we found in your area. You can call businesses directly to set up an appointment. First one is Drain Doctor Inc. I hope you're not in here, Drain Doctor. They said they are available for a faucet repair right now, but did not provide a price estimate. Naughty, naughty. Now, this is a precursor. In a short period of time, your homeowners are going to tell their agent, their AI agent, go get me estimates and come back to me with recommendations, and you're not even oftentimes going to know who the homeowner was. And if you're not willing to play this game, I am telling you, it will not fare well for you. I saw this coming for the last year. A year ago, I started a company. It's a software just like JobTread, if I might say that, because I saw all of these estimators that I thought were outrageously expensive in home improvement. I mean, like multiple hundreds of dollars a month. And I said, could I build an estimator that would allow any contractor to put an estimator on their website in less than an hour? And we did it. We pulled it off. And we already have 1,000 customers. It's called Price Guide. The cost to you is about $40 a month. And if you're interested in learning about it, I'll show you the link. But what we're seeing here, we've got some crazy data. HVAC company, $100,000 in their first 8 weeks in terms of sales. Then we had a home exterior company. They did $300,000 in their first 90 days. Then we had a swimming pool company that did $1.5 million in their first couple of months. We keep seeing this over and over again. Point being is, when a company in home improvement, home service, adds an estimator to their website, we see, generally speaking, a 300% increase that day in leads versus what they were getting before. Folks, this is the future. Not because I have a tool. I saw what was happening. This is where it's all going, and Google is forcing everyone's hand in this industry because they want quicker, better answers, all right? By the way, that has a free trial. Put it on your website for 2 weeks for free, and you tell me if it didn't work. I promise you, you'll start to see a 3x the day you put it on your website. The day you put it on your website, okay? Good. Now, as we close this out, this is self-service. It is going to be standard and table stakes within the next 3 years. Every home improvement company are going to have selection tools, recommendation tools, and pricing tools on their website. Every single one of us in this room. It'll be just like it was in the early 2000s when everyone was forced to get a website. That's where we're going moving forward. Now, before we close, if anybody wants the slides today, I'm happy to send you these slides. All right? I'm happy to send them to you. It's like 3 questions on this. Just fill that out, and we will send my company Impact, again, who's here, we'll send you the slides, and you can check out their booth. As we close, I want to tell you one of the best stories I've ever had when it comes to this whole journey of mine. Oh, by the way, did anybody get a score yet? There's so many. Raise your hand if you got a score. What was your score? 52 to 82, so you take the medium, so you're about a 74, 73. Okay, good. Oh, but you already have it. Good for you. All right, what was your score? 35 to 65, so you're at 50, which means we have some work to do. The good thing is everybody in your area is probably about the same, more or less. They're not passing. I want you to get to a 75 over the next 60 days. You can totally do it. Follow the plan. Anybody else get a high score in this room? You. 27 to 57. Well, that wasn't quite a high one, but that was a score nonetheless, right? So you know where you are, and the good thing is the sun rises tomorrow, I promise, and so is your website score. So as we close, I need to tell you one final story. One of the greatest stories of my life came with something that we teach in Endless Customers and They Ask You Answer, which is called assignment selling. How many pages of your website do you think the typical buyer would be willing to read before they buy? How many do you think, the average? Most people say 2 or 3. I used to think the same thing. But then something magical happened. A few years back, I was researching everyone that had filled out a form and said, I want to get a quote from you for our pool company. And what we found is there was 2 groups. Those that fill out a form and didn't buy, those that fill out a form and did buy. I said, what is the difference between the ones that did not buy versus the ones that did buy? And what we saw is the ones that did buy, the number 30 kept jumping up. In other words, if someone read 30 or more pages of our website, they would buy 80% of the time. I said, well, son of a gun. You're telling me all we got to do is get them to read 30 pages of our site and they're going to buy 80% of the time? I'll play that game. And so we got very intentional about the way we sold to people, making sure that they were consuming the right content before we got to the home, and it changed everything. And we've now taught this to organizations around the world, and it's magical the way that it works. But the most incredible story happened with one particular person. You see, one night, I was looking at the leads that came in, and I got a lead from a guy named William Grizzard. We're going to call him Bill Grizzard, okay? Now, it says, if you look at the left side, he was doing an organic search. It says he was using Yahoo, which in and of itself makes him a little bit weird, wouldn't you agree? It says he searched cost of fiberglass pool, and then it gets really interesting because it says that he proceeded to read how many pages of the website? 375 pages. What is wrong with Bill Grizzard? You're thinking, he must be retired. He must have too much time on his hands. Maybe he's a stalker, a competitor. Maybe he's got obsessive swimming pool disorder. Either way, weird guy, right? Same night, I can't make it up. I get another lead. Turns out Bill has a wife named Joni. Joni also did a search using Yahoo. We are the first identified Yahoo family in the world. She searches Richmond, Virginia pools, and she reads 149 pages of the site. How many pages of the website has this couple now read? 500 and some pages. What do you think that sales appointment was like? I walked into the house, Bill Grizzard smiling. He has a spreadsheet in his hands. The spreadsheet has the pool he's getting. It has every option and accessory he's getting with the pool. And all he needed from me was one little thing, which was the price. And I walked out of that house 45 minutes later, not 2.5 hours like the normal, 45 minutes later. And as I drove away, I started to laugh because I realized something. How much selling had I done that day? Yeah, how far along was he? Like 99.999, and my only job was do not screw this up, pool guy. Wouldn't it be nice whenever any of your salespeople went into the home, the job was just don't screw it up. Now, could that happen every time? No, but could it happen more than it does for you? I do believe it could. You see, turns out Bill Grizzard is not a freak. Bill Grizzard happens to be a brain surgeon in Virginia who doesn't want to make a mistake with his swimming pool, just like your buyer. My point to you is education, talking about, showing, selling in ways others aren't willing to do. That's the thing that's going to make you revolutionize your industry, change the game. I'm asking you to stop following the rules you've been given. It was such a hard time for us back in the 2008 period. It was a depressing time, but it was a fortifying time. We broke all the rules of our industry. And because we broke the rules, we saved the business, and everything in our lives has changed since then. So you be the rule breaker, because the rule breakers become the rule makers. Dare to be different. Don't be like everyone else in your space. Don't talk about the same things they talk about. Don't show the same things they talk about. And obsess always over what buyers really want. Follow the golden rule. If you would want it, they would want it too, I promise you. And if you do this, you will create in those customers. And 2026 and beyond is going to be your greatest year. Thank you, JobTread community. God bless.